It's that time of the month where we turn the social house into a giggle hut. This is an open mic forum, and not like the showcase where I have the performers and stuff. We're just gonna open it up to anybody that wants to try to make people laugh. And then I'm making Lynn do stuff. I was really shocked because Miss Deb actually volunteered to be our first subject, and she's got about 25 minutes. And it's all about hardcore pornography and cocaine. And I was like, do you mean cocaine? She's like, no, cocaine. It's a British thing.
Cocaine.
Why didn't she say the other
Cocaine.
thing? She's like, it's a Doctor Who thing.
There you go.
So, we're going to let Miss Deb come out here and try not to have a panic attack. So, come on out, Miss Deb.
All right.
Yay!
Alrighty, well, they don't know how fun.
Yep, pick it up.
Oh, for sure. Hello, I got it. Hello. Hello. Well, the reason that I'm doing this, and I'm going to tell you right now, the big laugh, the first one's going to be me falling over this thing. But anyway, I did not really leave enough time for you to laugh, so don't worry about it. I'm a bit of a, as I'm getting older, an experienced junkie, so you're on this journey with me to see if I can do this. So, first thing, I probably have to explain to you who this person is, but I tried to go as far back in my memory to come up with my first little party piece, little story that we all tell at gatherings and whatnot. And mine came up with the name Carol Channing. So I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but she used to be this little comedian and actress. She was on like Love Boat and all sorts of stand-up stuff. So anyway, picture this. I'm in the bathroom, the women's bathroom at Kiel Opera House. No, maybe you shouldn't picture that. But anyway, I was there, and I glanced out the window, and there's this marquee. And it has two lines. The first line being the name Carol Channing. The second one, Boxing Tonight. And I found that to be very hysterical. And I told that, throughout childhood, young adulthood, that was my party piece. So fast forward to the Working Women Survival Show. I'm a working woman at this point, and I need survival. So I went. And I'm sitting there, she's the headliner. And I thought, well, cool. So I sit down, and I'm waiting for her to come out. She comes out, she opens her mouth, she tells my story. She was there, of course, her name was on the thing, and she looked out that same window, only instead of finding it funny, she began to describe how she was rethinking her life choices. She was picturing herself having to box, and she was very, very grateful when she found out they were two separate things. So anyway, that was my first little story. And I guess the rest of it I have to talk about travel. My husband and I have always been nuts for traveling, so I guess this experienced junkie thing's not brand new. Anyway, when we were first married, we had a heavy van. There's no other way to put it. It was a Ford Econoline. It had no windows except two bubble windows on the very back. It had a moon painted over a shining sea on the side, and you open the door, and it's shag carpeting, floor, ceiling, walls, whole 9 yards, and faux fur. It had a little kind of mirrored icebox kind of thing with a little bench in. There was a saloon sign. It was really cool. You could take the captain's chair, steer him around. It was like hanging out in your living room, and it was great for travel, except that Gary's too tall, and it didn't really fit. But if you look towards the back of the van, there's this whole wall of faux fur, and a hole in it that you went in, and there was a bed. Same thing, shag carpet, floor ceiling.
Okay.
So cool. But it was definitely a hippie van. So anyway, one of the places we used to go ages ago was Canada. We'd drive up through Detroit, and we'd go hang out in Windsor and Amherstburg in that area. And so we were coming home from one of our first trips up there, and we're listening to the radio in our hippie van as we're driving down the highway. And they're talking about Spiro Agnew is in town talking to, I guess, car makers in Detroit, and that he was leaving. And we're on the on-ramp, get off onto the highway, and suddenly realize we're in a sea of large black cars with flags waving on them. We are in the middle of Spiro Agnew's motorcade. So we're like, okay, that will be page 1 in our FBI file. So anyway, we decide, okay, we got to get out of here before the helicopters come and stuff. So we pull off at the first place and run right into a sign that says, do not enter Ford Proving Grounds. Oh God, it just gets better and better. So we managed to turn around and get back on the highway, and these people have long gone, thank goodness, so we're good there. But I will admit, it seems like we tend to get into trouble a lot in Canada. Fast forward to, we're on our second kid out of 3 at this point, and he adores, it's Ian, he adores this TV show on PBS called Today's Special. It's about a mannequin, a gentleman, real cute, curly hair, and this nice lady who dresses him. So that show could have gone all sorts of ways, but it was a kid's show. And there was a puppet that was the security guard, and then there was this little mouse. So we decided that year to go on vacation to Toronto, in Canada, and go to Simpson's department store where Muffy Mouse lives. So it's like 900 miles. We go to Windsor, and we need to get a train ticket on VIA, which is their trains like Amtrak. And it's school recess right now, so we have to wait like 4 days. So we wait the 4 days, and Thursday morning we get on the train at dawn. And I'm telling you, the whole way there, it's like 2 or 3. I'm like, we're getting Muffy Mouse books and toys and curtains and blankets, and you're just going to have a Muffy Mouse. We're really so excited. And we get there, and we find Simpson's department store, and we go up to the kids' department. It's an old-fashioned place. It's got the creaky floors. Very cool, but crickets. There are no mice to be found. There are beautiful topiaries of dancing elephants and all sorts of things in the kids' department, but no mouse. So we find a lady with a little name tag, and we ask her about this, and she looks at us like we're speaking Klingon. She has no clue what we're talking about. So she goes and gets a floor manager. He comes over, claps his hands together, and says, Americans, eh? And we're like, yeah. He's like, yeah, we don't get that show here. No, you're not. So you don't get that show here. It takes place in this building. No, sorry. So, okay, we bought a stuffed dinosaur, and we took our disappointment down the street. And we were wanting to go to this thing, which I wish was still there. It's so cool, called Tour of the Universe. And it's the base of the CN Tower. And the CN Tower is this big monument, it's like the size of the arch. And we were walking down the street, getting ready to go to Tour of the Universe. And I probably got page 2 in my FBI file. I ran in. Apparently we're there for the World Economic Summit, which I think they call it G6 or G8 or something now. Anyway, so I walked smack dab into the Emperor of Japan, who's there for the Economic Summit. So apparently I cause international incidents. So I'm going to stop doing that. But anyway, Tour of the Universe was so cool. It was like this futuristic space port that you had this little necklace thing that you wore, and you went through these different stations, and they would like spray mist on you and inoculate you against moon pox or some weird thing like that. But they had these like TSA people on steroids, and this was long before TSA. This was back in the 80s, and they were like stormtroopers from Star Wars. Never broke character. They were so cool, but so creepy. Like the one went through my diaper bag and stuff. It was just weird. It was just weird. But we had a good time, and that was FBI page number 2. Oh, coming home on VIA. VIA was really cool. It has these old-fashioned cars, and at the end of the car, where we were sitting, was a water cooler. And then up on the wall were these little paper cups. They were shaped like ice cream cones, you know. And so, like I said, this was school recess right now for them. So one of the groups of people that were on there were these Girl Scouts or whatever their version is, I'm not sure. Anyway, one by one, two by two, something like that, they'd huddle up, they'd pull down their cup and they'd get a glass of water. And this kept these kids entertained for quite a while. But about the third stop coming back, this one little girl comes toddling up and she's going to get her paper cup. So she reaches up and then she notices besides the paper cup, there's a rope with a handle on the end of it. Yeah. I'm assuming she thought that was going to distribute her a cup. So she pulls it. We grind to a halt. That was the emergency brake. So on comes the conductor. This is going to be a long one, people. Just buckle up. We're going to be here for the night. Our 3-hour trip took about 5 hours because apparently you have to roll the train, fix a brake. Roll the train, fix a brake. We were supposed to go to brunch with friends that next morning. I called them and said, we is bound from the USA on over this. So that was pretty much the end of that. The last little story that I'm going to tell you about our travels is my family and I were invited to UCLA Medical Center. We have a genetic condition that only about 500 people or 500 families in the whole world have. And so we spent time divided between sightseeing and going to the hospital and being examined and stuff. But that was pretty cool because it was on their dime. So the whole time we were out there, we were working so hard to see if we could find movie stars or TV stars or whatever. We never saw one, at least not that we were aware of. So we're back at LAX, we're getting ready to go on the plane, and there's this long, snaky line that goes back and forth, zigzags back and forth, to get through security. And so I'm just walking with my little suitcase and thinking thoughts about the trip and all this stuff, and coming towards me is this guy with this giant, it was bigger than him, case that I knew from being a kid taking piano lessons was keyboard, and it was attached to his back. And I looked down at his face and I realized it's Billy Joel. So I had this lovely conversation with Billy Joel that nobody ever said a word. I went, and he went, and I went, and he went. So that was my one and only encounter with royalty out there in stardom. But anyway, speaking of travel, I think my time is up and I'm about ready to travel back to the table. But thank you very much. Hope you're well.
All right, how about for Miss Deb?
That's awesome.
She cut out all of the graphic stuff, though. I mean, I guess it's good. No boobs in it. So, anyone who's been in a long-term relationship knows